And we are back for another episode of the Protect You podcast. Welcome on in, folks, to Studio Triple J, as we've been calling it here affectionately. I am Jake Wilson alongside Jay Mickens. And Jay, we had another very action-packed week, both in terms of high school coverage. You and I, we went out and we saw some very exciting games last week. And then obviously with the college circuit getting some action going, handful of upsets, but a handful of games that we had some pretty solid sentimental value in.
Yeah, and don't forget, first week of fantasy football.
No doubt.
Right? Got to throw that out there.
No
Shout
doubt.
out to all of my NFL guys in one of my leagues, right? Josh Allen, you're the man. I'm sure you're not watching, but if somebody runs this by you, thank you, brother, for that Sunday night heroics play. And to your point, Jake, going back down to our high school and college kids, we had a lot of big-time plays for our guys here at Protection United as well.
That we did. And the messaging that you have definitely been a pioneer of, and that I love to see thrown out there as much as possible, is the whole concept of if you're a good player, you make big plays, and you are the big-timer, we got to give you the spot.
Hey, if you ball, you're going to get the call. Right? That's the bottom line. And if you ball, you're going to get the call. We're huge about Protection United in regards to not only protecting our guys, but also showcasing their talents. So excited and cannot wait to kick this one off. So I think we also have some more announcements of some other people that have just joined the crew.
That we do, Jay. That we do. It was a very action-packed week. We talk a lot about bringing on new guys, bringing on new faces that really start to grow the Protect You family, because the mission has been from the very beginning to make this as large as possible too, Jay.
Right.
Expanding beyond just the borders of the state of Texas, but we see it now with Louisiana. We see it now with some South Carolina. We had Florida guys on here as special guests to come on and talk about what that development has been like. But before we jump into that, we talk about the big-time players and the moments that we saw, whether that was the players that we witnessed firsthand or the people that we heard about making some waves on social media. And one guy that has always been a verdant supporter of the Protect You podcast has and always will be the Kinney family and our boy Rod. And it's very easy to see why he's such an avid cheerleader, if you will, for both Protection United and then obviously his boys, who have been doing a lot of really hard work during this season. We've already talked once about Davis Kinney, but the boy keeps making plays, and it's hard not to keep talking about him.
Man, we might be talking about this kid every week. You're looking at a Davis Kinney that is not only doing big-time plays, right? I mean, to kind of showing and this was last week's, plays that we're showing, right? We showed this clip last week, and when he had the game-winning, I would say fumble. I mean, what would that be? Considered a fumble recovery, and then gets the touchdown, right? So, now, looking at, and once again, just showing another clip from last week of things that he did. But now you're looking at a Davis Kinney that once, producer gets to next week's clips, will literally show, what he did against Fort Bend Travis, which was a huge game-winning play that I feel, just kind of showing, what Fort Bend Travis is going to be doing this season.
No doubt on that, because when we talk a lot too about the big plays, those big time moments, that's what defines a player in these early stages, where Davis, he's already picked up that commitment from Northwestern. He's already shown the flashes of what he's capable of, but it's in these big moments where a player really starts to define themselves, build that name, reputation, that recognition that the college coaches can then start to come down to. And obviously those guys talk with each other. That's an interconnected network, an interconnected family of coaches. While they may play each other and try and focus on each other's strengths and weaknesses every given week, they talk to each other. And when Davis Kinney gets thrown around and gets mentioned in one place, he's going to get picked up and mentioned in another, Jay.
Yes, and I hope our producer now has that clip, because I mean, that's too big of a play for us not to showcase. Peter Jesus, you got that pulled up for us now, or the picks? I think it was that last one that you showed, that showed one being taken to the house, but it was a game-winning pick six.
Yeah, it's this one right here.
Okay, here we go.
It drops back into that zone. Everybody's super fired up. Look at the speed, too, down the sidelines. Nobody catching that, and my goodness. Big-time moments, big-time plays right there before the clock expires, about 40 seconds left. I mean, just Incredible stuff.
Exactly. And so, Davis Kenny, you continue to ball, you're going to continue to get the call. Bottom line, right? He's a young man that committed to Northwestern, as we, talked about when we announced him last week. And just another phenomenal athlete that we're so honored to be representing here at Protection United.
Yeah, no doubt on that. No doubt on that. Because, too, we saw just a little bit of a flash of it there, too, of the special teams play. That utility type aspect that comes to some of these younger guys where you try and get as much film as possible. Because it's super competitive at the high school level for guys. You're maybe lucky to make that jump to directly to D1 levels, such as a Davis Kinney has already lined himself up to do. But the more volume, the higher volume of film that you're able to get to show off your assets, the better.
Right. Well, and that's where the other side of this is too, right? Because, you're looking at a young man that, in my opinion, is going to make that 2 depth chart, right? When you get to the collegiate level, because all to your point, it is tough at the high school level. But now let's talk about college for a little bit, right? Making that, starting lineup is one thing, but being on that 2 depth chart is another advantage that athletes are now getting to see, because special teams is not only most importantly, but from an NIL negotiation standpoint, right? That price tag gets to go up, and now your value has increased because of the fact that these coaches know that not only can I use Davis Kinney at a safety position, but I also can use him as a punt return specialist or a kick return specialist or on kickoff or on punt, right? So, now he is now making himself so much more valuable, right, for Northwestern, or if another school comes in that gets him to, flip his commitment, right? And he keeps playing the way he's playing, Jake, there's a lot of schools that will want him.
I agree with you on that one. And a 27-16 win for Fort Bend Travis over Jordan in a very competitive game. Big players make big plays, and that's what you just saw there. And speaking of a guy that we unfortunately haven't covered nearly as much since we made his announcement, but definitely showed up and showed out and said, hey, I'm worth something here to the Protect You crew, and I am going to show up and show out in the biggest way possible. And that was our Louisiana wide receiver, Alex Fontenot. He had, you ready for this, Jay?
I'm ready.
5 catches for 129 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow. And look at this. Here's that first one. I mean, just great post route, burns the corner and the safety, right, for touchdown number 1. Just love that frame on that young man. I mean, just a kid that is going to tear it up to the next level. He's only a 2027, right? So now you're looking at another situation here. I believe he's going to be touchdown number 2, kind of in that tight slot formation. I don't know if that was the same clip or if he just scored twice on the same. That was the same clip. Computer Jesus confirmed that. So, here we go. Clip number 2. You're looking at just another situation where, he's up top. And beautiful back shoulder. And then, look at that.
Comes around to grab the ball, stretches over the goal.
Well, and the thing that I love the most about that is that he left enough room too, right? Left enough green on that sideline to where it didn't run him out of bounds. He had enough to be more physical and to make sure that he gets, to the end zone on that. And then touchdown number 3 here coming into play. I mean, at some point, Coach, I don't know why the DC didn't slide a safety over him. I mean, he's just killing. But, hey, I guess he thought his corner was better than the receiver, and he was proven incorrect. Okay. And, look how he stared him down. He let him know.
Kudos to the quarterback, too. Excellent teardrop pass on that one, too. But it takes a special guy to be able to make something out of that, right? To create that separation like you saw in the first one, using the blistering speed to get by the safety and get into open space. But then that second one especially, I feel like really speaks to what Alex is capable of having that solid body control for a guy that is the size of him too. This guy is 6'3", I would say probably 6'4", maybe 6'5", when we were talking with him personally, of just having such length, such size to him, but being able to control his body and contort in a way to come down with that pass and then stretch it across for the goal line. Speaks volumes for what he is capable of should he get this next full year of development before he graduates. And then he might make the jump directly to D1.
Yeah, well, and I mean, he's already got multiple D1 offers, right? Most recently picked up the UNLV offer. But you're looking at a young man that has a whole nother year of high school. And most importantly, right, he understands, his parents understood, it's time to get representation. It's time to get somebody to help us go next level. So you're looking at someone that is getting so many offers now, and then in turn, he has a whole nother year. He has the opportunity to do another circuit of summer camps, right? Which we all know those are big. And I have a feeling that if he continues to play the way he's playing, he's going to get an opportunity to get invites to the Nike camps, to the rival camps, the Under Armour camps, because Alex will become more than just a statewide name, but you're looking at a young man that could become a national recruit by the end of this season.
And it was a pretty big win, too, for Alexandria. They walked out of that game, Jay, 54-7 in a dominating win. And in the postgame, he talked with the social media manager for Alexandria High School, Brent McCormick, and he said, I'm not satisfied. I want to put up 20 points alone this season. He got pretty dang close with
18.
He got pretty dang close with 18, but he says, I want 20 this season.
He wants to average 20 points. Well, I will say for fantasy football, he got us 25.
That he did.
So
that he did. That. So it was a very strong performance from him and a great show out. And now we transition to some of the college kids, and one that we've highlighted before, but you keep the train a-rolling, you keep things pushing at the college level especially, you're going to get the call. And that was, of course, the role that Samara Coleman played in this. The First Lady of Protection United was a key contributor in TCU's win.
Oh, look at 12. I'm talking, oh my goodness. I mean, look at, she is in her zone. You know, another top 25 program goes down by the hands of the Horned Frogs, and Computer G, just let that roll again. I mean, I can't get enough of watching her highlights. Just the elevation that she gets, you know, being only, 6'1", 6'2", but she jumps like she's 6'5", 6'6". She's so athletic. You know, obviously we know what she did on the high school level, but now you're looking at a young lady that is doing it as a true freshman. Someone else that, once again, was in high school just last year.
Yep.
Like literally was in high school last year, back-to-back state champ. I still argue that they won a national championship her junior year. However, right, Samara Coleman is someone that we've talked about on the reg. She's one of the Power Five guys, someone that made the big wall here in the Triple J studios. But you talk about someone that is taking full advantage of an opportunity, right? Coming in, being a backup, being a key contributor and coming in and playing, but now, with an injury created an opportunity, right? And so now you're looking at Samara Coleman being that key contributor now for TCU. The coach is getting to see, she is who we thought that she was. There was no need to hold back, try to develop her. There are certain people that are ready to go now, and Samara Coleman is one of those. And now she's still going to be in that running of not only being the freshman Big 12 Player of the Year, but now she's got a real true chance of also making the freshman All-American team. She made it in the preseason, but that's different than making it after the season is over when everything is said and done. So proud of Samara. I mean, she had 8 kills?
That she did. It was a pretty big weekend for TCU. They played UCLA in back-to-back games. UCLA was number 19 in the poll going into those matchups, and TCU beat them by a combined 6-1 in 2 games. So it's a pretty impressive showing there for both Samara and the Horned Frogs. 3 straight wins over ranked opponents for TCU. And Samara, she didn't have 8, she had 12 kills.
12 kills. Wow.
And so, again, you're talking about the freshman being able to go out there and contribute in a big way like that?
Yeah, bro.
Against a ranked opponent?
Right. And to have that much talent just sitting on the bench, right? Kudos to TCU. Coach Jason's done a phenomenal job of recruiting, right? But, getting Samara on that squad, and I'm sure his mindset was, I got depth. I can kind of bring in the freshmen now, right? Like I mentioned, tough injury to the young lady that went down. But as we see, TCU's not missing a beat by having Samara Coleman come in and do what she does best, which is dominate and help secure wins for her teams.
And not only that, too, but TCU now moves up to number 15 in the poll. That is the highest ranked position for the Horned Frogs in program history.
Here we go, baby. Here we go.
Big strides when a player like Samara Coleman gets into town.
Samara Coleman, Protection United. equals success. Is that what you're saying,
Oh,
Jake?
I think so.
Is
Jake.
that what you're saying?
You know what? Forget I think so. I know so.
You know so. Okay.
I know that's
I just
what
want
I'm
to make
saying.
sure
I know
that's what I was hearing out of my left ear. Okay. I just want to check on that.
The first lady making big moves in
lady.
Funky Town.
Funky Town.
For the Horned
Got
Frogs.
TCU feeling good. I cannot wait for us to get up there on the 17th. I'm so fired up. October 17th. I wish it could hurry and get here, and then we can come back to September because I don't want to rush football.
No.
We don't want to rush through the season.
No.
We want to smell the roses this year, Jay.
That we do, Jay. And speaking of, too, the weather today was just perfect football weather.
Beautiful
I think
weather.
Mother Nature is starting to realize, too, it's time for people to hit the gridiron.
Yes.
I think it's time.
Yes.
I think it's time. And two guys that did hit the gridiron in a big way, too, where we called them the Houston Christian crew, where we had two guys.
the
HCC. We had the HCC hitting the gridiron as well over the weekend for two guys that we had mentioned joining the team, Sean DeBose and TJ Tamarcus Gray Jr., guys that were transfer portal guys that we had been helping out, trying to find a destination, trying to find a home for them. But they definitely seem to have found it now. And we start out with TJ Gray, who had one heck of a performance over the weekend. And he had 10 receptions for 80 yards during what was his first really significant action here for the Huskies and HCU. Shout outs to TJ for getting us these clips as well, trying to get us in as any way as possible. But hey, anything counts.
Anything counts. And kudos to TJ. Shout out to my dog sending us these clips. He's like, man, I caught 10 balls. I'm going to get it to you any kind of way I can.
Hey, and that's kudos to you, man. And kudos to him and also to the many parents that have helped us out in getting the clips for this episode. But it was a dominant victory for Houston Christian, and in very large part to what they were able to do on the offensive side of the ball. DJ was obviously one of the biggest contributors in their game against Eastern Kentucky. They did go down 20-10, but still speaks volumes to it. And there you see the play made by the one and only Sean DeBose.
Yeah, there it is, baby. Number 41. I mean, big time players making big time plays. Comes off of the cut block, which is great. Understanding not to let people get to his knees. And look there's that tackle. So he had a pass deflection and a tackle. The HCC represented, man. The Houston Christian crew, definitely helped get that dub. And, just kind of wanting to go back to TJ. 10 catches, 80 yards. Once again, that's 18 points in fantasy. Just don't throw that out there. But you're looking at a young man that left Louisiana Tech. And it's such a weird deal, right? As we are learning more and more about how this whole new world works with the transfer portal. A lot of times there's a lot of negativity towards it. People feel that you should stay where you are, grind. These kids are soft and quitters. That's not true for these purists out here. A lot of times these coaches come in and they want to have their own guys, right? Jalen was recruited by a brand new coaches there in Jalen Mickens, right, at Louisiana Tech. TJ Gray was there before those guys got there, right? Which is why he was like, they don't believe in me. They want to play their own guys. I need to go find a new home. So TJ was a great kid. He never got any trouble at La Tech, came to practice. There was never a negative report, or he wouldn't be a part of Protection United. However, now here he is, new opportunity, new home, and he's taking full advantage of that opportunity. And now he's able to play at Houston Christian to where now he's getting recognized, he's getting notoriety, and now he has an opportunity to continue to build his career, and his future is going to be so bright. And, along with those 10 catches, he had 11 targets. So you're looking at a young man that caught every ball, every catchable ball, because that 11th target was not a catchable ball, but he caught every ball that came his way, and he did the best that he could do given the opportunity. Then now sliding over to Sean DeBose, right? Another young man, another Abilene Christian guy that won a national championship. Just going to say, it makes sense how they won a national championship. I mean, we helped.
The amount of guys that came out of that program.
Two offensive tackles, and then you had a DN/linebacker. But Sean DeBose being able to come in and get a pass deflection. Like I said, to me, the most important, I would say most impressive thing was the fact that the running back goes to cut him, and he knew how to jam him into the ground, stay on his feet, and then gets the pass deflection. Just speaks on, Sean's athleticism, right? Speaks on, him understanding what's going on and the concept.
Yes, because I feel like that's the bigger thing too, is the mental aspect of it, of understanding that there are tools to the trade. There are things that are going to make me successful, and it's those techniques. you can work in the weight room, you can work at getting faster, you can work at getting stronger, but unless you're willing to take on those challenges on the mental aspect of it, you're not going to be successful. And it looks like DeBose has really taken that to heart and really become the player that he was destined to be. And now he finally gets to show his stuff at HCU before he might potentially be making the jump back in to the proper D1 range.
Yeah, exactly. So excited, man, for our guys. Unfortunately, they didn't win the game, right? But as individuals, they definitely, showed that they are, two individual athletes that are to be reckoned with. And obviously, Houston Christian is really believing in them. And also to add, they were late getting to the party, right? They both came and was on campus at HCU. I want to say both for sure after spring ball, but one comes in June, and I believe TJ got there right at the beginning of July, right? So you're looking at two athletes that not only missed, all season workouts, they also missed spring ball, but yet they were able to pass a good number of guys on the depth chart. Just kind of speaks to, in my opinion, right, how well they came in prepared, right? Showed that they came into camp in shape. And they also, most importantly, Jake, they came in with the understanding of, I'm here to compete and I'm here to earn the trust of these coaches, which clearly they both have done.
No doubt on that, Jay. And that wraps it up for the college and the big play portion of today's show because, Jay, we were very active over the weekend in terms of bringing on new people. There are a handful of the Texas talent that we've been deciding to roll out. We did go and see one of them last week, or two of them, I should say, last week. And then we did go and see another big man get some action in on Friday. But can you talk a little bit, too, about what this expansion has felt like as we bring in new players, both from inside the state of Texas that we can now safely be able to promote and show a little bit of love to, but now talking a little bit about the out-of-state expansion as we carry over to the first guy, Franklin Whitley.
Yeah, so the expansion and everything that we're doing, right, in that regard, right, just kind of answer your first question, is just been amazing, right, just to kind of see the movement and the growth. But Franklin Whitley, right, so excited to welcome him to the crew. I want to say that he was probably our longest recruit. I made a funny joke with his dad when myself, BJ Scoggin, right, director of player development, he's the guy that actually found Franklin, right? And BJ kind of built that relationship with the young man first. Then, of course, we turn around and bring him, into the fold, getting myself involved, obviously getting dad involved. And I told him, hey, just like grandma always says, right, it's best to, be friends first, right, before you get into a relationship. And I felt that's what we did with the Whitley family. I had multiple conversations, text messages, phone calls, Zooms, right? Mr. Will was even nice to Zoom with us while he was finishing up a workout, right? But we built it and we continued to grow. And to get the call on Sunday that they were ready to move forward with us and to allow us to represent, Franklin is amazing. So, now Computer Jesus, if you want to bring those highlights back.
There you go.
I mean, just look at the specimen of this young man. I mean, he currently has a Georgia offer. Georgia jumped on him very quick. Now we're looking at LSU, Virginia Tech, Clemson, just to name a few that are now starting to want to come after him. What he did on Friday night, just dominated. One of the top offensive linemen in the state of South Carolina. And for lack of better words, he made that young man look very foolish, coming off of that edge. I mean, he's a basketball player, so his technique, his athleticism, him understanding, just how to move, right? How to use his arms, how to move his feet. He's someone that is going to just dominate. I mean, look at that. There it is right there. I mean, just uses great hands, great sack. I mean,
and he just bull rushes one of the best linemen in the state of South Carolina. Look at that. There's nothing that lineman can do to stop him because he's moving with so much speed and so much momentum going in his direction. I don't think anybody could.
Look at that.
You saw the first guy jumped over.
Stop it.
But he still was there to get that.
Oh, look at that monster.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. I mean, look at the spin move. Oh, the spin. Oh, but look at this. Watch this. Slow it down.
That's the basketball coming into play.
Look at that. Whoop. Get off me. Tackle's like, where'd he go? He don't even know where he went. He didn't even see him. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to watch this young man, Jake. I get to go watch him, I believe on October 10th. I'll be up there in Greenville, and I cannot wait to watch him play on just live in person. But you're looking at a 6'7", 3-star defensive end. By the end of the season, will be a 4-star. I mean, this guy can do it all. And the thing about it, Jake, late bloomer. He stopped playing football and was just doing basketball. And then he's like, I think I'm gonna go back and start playing football again. Okay, cool. Then here comes Georgia offer. Like, I mean, look.
Sometimes it just works out for some people, and it definitely looks like it's working out for him.
Yes. I mean,
that's just a dude on the sideline.
No, it is. Good looking kid. He's going to be very marketable when he gets to college, and we're able to help him get outside endorsement deals. I mean, great mom and dad. That's obviously key to this whole thing for him. I mean, kudos to Mama Whitley as well as Mr. Whitley. Y'all have done a phenomenal job raising such a great young man, because typically guys that are this good, they know it and they show it, right? Whereas, Franklin's one of the most humble kids that I have had the pleasure of just hearing about. Cannot wait to, get to know him a little bit more as we go through, this journey of representing him. And, Will say, I don't know if I'll get in trouble with this. So, Will, if you get upset with me, then let me ask for forgiveness now. But the fact that we were able to, beat out a lot of the big boy agencies, to garner and get, Franklin as a newest member, or one of the newest members, I should say, of the Protect You crew, just speaks high volumes of just the whole team here, what we're doing and building. Because athletes like this, we typically could be a year or two away from getting, but yet they believe in what we're doing. And I believe, according to what the Whitleys have shared with us, it is the family atmosphere that is what made them want to come to us. They love the fact that, we do have the big pull, like the big agencies, when it comes to the connections, the brand power, right? Being able to help, our guys secure, that bag on and off the field when they get, to their selected college of choice. However, they love the fact that we also still have that small boutique feel, that we're a family here, that we're still, able to be contacted, right? And that they're not getting pushed off to someone that could be considered, below a certain level of employees here, right? Getting a hold of myself, BJ, obviously you, Jake, it's just a different feel here at Protection United. And I do feel that because there are, very close-knitted family, we were able to secure Franklin, and I could not be more excited about this young man, and his future is so bright. And the thing that's crazy, Jake, is that he could play college basketball too if he wanted to.
That's very true. And one thing that definitely got me hyped up about Franklin joining the Protect You crew as well was when we said, and we started pushing in towards the social media aspect of it too, of, hey, we need to get on this guy ASAP because this is a big fish that we just reeled in. Our social media team said, oh, yeah, y'all got a good one. They said, oh, yeah, this school knows how to produce linemen. That's how, in my mind, I knew that the hype was real for what's going on, not only here at Protect You, but from Franklin's perspective, too. Your name has been out there so much that when we said, hey, we got him, people outside of our immediate circles said, nice move.
Right.
Good move, guys.
Exactly.
Good move.
Exactly. No, that's, and our social media team, I mean, they're so good with knowing and recognizing talent. And, yes, it definitely feels good when you are going after someone and then all of a sudden, you feel like you've got a dude, I mean, we do such a phenomenal job. Big shout out to our guy, Logan Mahoney, our talent scout here, because he does a phenomenal job of, giving us these detailed reports of these guys. Of course, our executive assistant here, Madison Lamb, which I call our internal FBI agent here. She does a good job of doing those background recons, right? And but yes, to have outsiders that don't know all that, and then to come and be like, holy cow, where y'all finding these kids? How are you getting these young men and helping them? It is really such a great feeling.
It's validating. Mm-hmm. It's validating that a lot of the work that's been going in behind the scenes can really start to show in front of everybody and in front of this national growing audience, Jay. But that has been Franklin Whitley, and we are excited to bring on another out-of-state member to the Protect You
Here we
crew,
go, baby.
and that is Carnell Jackson Jr., CJ, as we like to call him, inside of here out of Auburn High School in Auburn, Alabama. Jay, this kid is legit.
Yes, he is, Jake. I mean, watch this monster. I mean, one of the best D linemen in the state of Alabama. I mean, look at that, just mauled. Oh my, oh my. Sometimes you can just watch a clip and there's no words that are even needed. I mean, this big fella are currently committed to Arkansas, 6'3", 335 pounds. But look how he moves. I mean, his get off. I mean, is that Warren Sappich? I mean, he's getting double teamed, and he still's like, I don't care. I'll take on both of y'all, and I'm still going to make the tackle.
And what's important too is it's like you said, the small things that only the experienced eye is going to pick up on. Look at how quickly he gets off when the ball is snapped. That was a split second play to be able to fire off of the ball that quickly and get involved in the play. So I think it speaks volumes to the experience that he already has and that he likely will be able to grow upon once he does make the jump to the D1 levels. Obviously, like you said, committed to Arkansas right now, where he's got the great potential as a Razorback. And he is a class of 2026 guy, so we're going to get to see this guy playing immediately once he gets to join that program over there in, what is that? That's
the Razorbacks.
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville. And once again, right, verbal commits are verbal commits. I mean, he's got opportunity to continue to garner more interest. I look forward to, talking and negotiating with all general managers that come his way, right, in essence of, negotiating that NIL collective for whatever school he goes to. But you're looking at a Carnell Jackson, right? First of all, big shout out, Coach JJ, one of his guys, Young Bulls in the house. You brought us this young man. You told us about this young man. Once again, great family. We've had the privilege, of talking to mom and dad, building a relationship with them, getting them to understand what we're about, them telling us their expectations and what they're looking for. But you're looking at an interior guy that can not only play at a 3 technique, can also play anywhere within that, right? He could be a nose over the center. I'm just going to throw this out. Like I said, I like Warren Sapp because you look at the body size, but, could he be a guy that he continues to build muscle? Just going to throw this out, Michael Parsons.
Could be.
I mean, we saw, the Cowboys didn't do this as much, but you're looking at Green Bay Packers. If you watched on Sunday, they moved him around, right? I mean, they put him over the center on occasion. You're looking at a CJ that could draw a double, triple team to where he's freeing up other teammates. What is an advantage there, right? And so collegiately, we get coming in as a freshman. That doesn't always translate immediately. However, his get off, the fact that he can move, and what I like the most about looking at those highlights is that CJ knows how to control his body weight. A lot of guys that size, it's hard to jam on those brakes. They're like a Cadillac, right? You're going to make the Cadillac turns. You're going to have to, come to a stop half a mile away from the light, right? Or you're going to run right through it. The fact that he can move and groove and the swim moves, right? The upper body control. That was another thing that was impressive. Quick to do a swim move, coming off of a double team. Now, it goes from a double team to now it's just one-on-one blocking. The other guy gets involved. It's going to be considered holding. But CJ Jackson, another guy that we've been after hard. So blessed and honored that, the Jackson family allowed us to represent their son. Cannot wait to get fully rolling with him. And once again, another young man to where his future is so bright here at Protection United.
It's blinding, Jay. I got to wear sunglasses when I watch some of those highlights, man. Because, man, 6'3", 335. He's got that great interior lineman build. But, like you said, that work behind the scenes could benefit him greatly into becoming that multi-tool on the front line. If you get a guy that can pressure the quarterback inside, maybe you try and see if he's got that same speed on an outside position. So very excited to see what CJ might bring to his team, wherever that may be in the near future. And now we move over, Jay, to a guy that we were excited to go and see last week, a guy that was a big presence and somebody that before I even joined on, y'all had talked about a lot of this guy is exciting because of what he brings to the table, both in the physical aspect of it, of seeing him in person. That's a big SOB out there on the front lines, but also the technique and the other parts that you got to really look for. And that is EJ Lartigue out of Klein Collins High School.
Ooh, my God, the monster. This young man played offensive tackle last year in the same situation as like a Michael Mesquite, right? Doing what was best for the team. But this year, his coaches were nice enough to say, hey, you grade out better at a center, right? And I think you're going to see how he was able just to dominate. I mean, perfect snaps all night long. And look at them all. Look at the pancake finish. That was EJ for the ones that didn't see that. But you continue to watch the big boy, and you just see him drive and just maul 2-3 defenders over and over and over. Braden Scoggins, right, QB1 for Klein Collins. He's always been a tough guy, but being able to run behind his guy, he used to be off tackle. Now Brade's like, I think I'll just run in the 1 and 2 hole, EJ. Just wherever you are, I'm just going to run and I'm going to handle business. And you just see 74. I mean, look how he finishes his blocks. That is the thing that's most impressive for me. It's one thing to be technical sound. It's one thing to understand turning your butt to the hole and all the things that a good offensive line coach teaches, but he's got that nasty in him. I mean, just that dog mentality that you want to have when you are being recruited and what an offensive line coach on a collegiate level is looking for. Who's going to finish blocks? Who's going to continue to play until that whistle's blown? Who does not take plays off? And you see CJ, and the thing about it is, because of his athleticism, he can pull as well. So now when you get to the collegiate level where a lot of guys only want to do a 3-man front and he's not covered up on occasion, to being able to snap the ball, go pull, and he's athletic enough to go break down and block an outside linebacker or inside linebacker, depending on the play, the design rather of the play. But I mean, 6'3", 300 pounds. I mean, look, I told him when we first signed him up, I said, go watch Kelsey, not Travis, because then you would go see Taylor Swift. Not that Kelsey. Go look at Jason Kelsey. Go watch, first of all, his measurables. Go look that up, and then go watch him play, and you tell me if you see differences, right? Mom and Dad told me that that's all he did for that next day was watch Jason Kelsey, because he's a guy that has the same measurables. I think Kelsey's actually an inch shorter. Jason's an inch shorter than EJ, but EJ is a guy that is currently committed to UTEP, does have offers from UNT as well as Arkansas State, but we are expecting Power 4, soon to be Power 5, right? If the Texas States of the world and whoever else is going to be building out that Pac-12, they're now going back to the Power 5. But we're expecting those offers to start coming in here in the next 2 or 3 games, because if he continues to do what he did, which, once again, he wasn't going against scrubs this past week, right? I mean, he was going against a Waylon Nolan, right? Waylon Nolan is the younger brother of Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan was the first-round draft pick for the Arizona Cardinals this past NFL draft. So that is a long family line of lineage of top-notch athletes, right? And the fact that EJ was able to hold his own against that monster just shows proof that EJ is ready to compete against the big boys. And I do feel that when it's all said and done, EJ will be either competing at a group of 5, stay committed to UTEP and start as a freshman, or he goes up to the bigger ranks and potentially starts as a freshman.
Yeah, and what I liked too for that unanimous first team all-district player in EJ Lartigue was when we saw one of those clips was that chip technique. On the offensive line, you're talking about trying to get to the second level. The best way that you do that, especially out of the center position that Lartigue is working out of, is if the guy is shifted over to either of your shoulders, he's not lined up dead center over you, what you're going to try and do is snap and then chip. If he's on your left, you chip him to your left so that way your left guard is able to take him in a one-on-one situation. And now that frees you up to go and take out a linebacker. You've just gained 3 to 5-ish yards by doing that simple chip and then moving up to the second level. That is huge for an offensive lineman to learn, especially out of that interior spot. If you're able to punch it up the gut consistently in a run game, like Klein Collins was able to do against Willis last week, you're going to be very successful at the next level. So I have incredibly high hopes for what Lartigue is going to be capable of when he does get to the college ranks.
Oh yeah, no, and excited, right? We with him being a local kid, right? We get the pleasure of getting to watch him play a few times, right? This season. So once again, EJ, welcome. Eddie, Stephanie, appreciate you guys, right, and trusting us here at Protection United to represent your son, and we look forward to once again, right? Building this thing out and being essentially extension, I would say an extension of the family, right? and helping to continue to grow, him within his football career.
And to speak to that moment too, being able to go up and talk to them after the game, incredibly supportive. You laid out the groundwork of, look, we're going to work with them. We're going to do what we can. And then on Tuesday, the big announcement's coming. It's going to be here. Y'all just wait on it. And the full belief in what you said there of the absolutely, Jay, sounds good. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes to the trust of that family and what they've really put in terms of an investment of their son here.
100%. And look, and I'm telling you, right, those two parents, did their research. They vetted us out, right? Obviously, our director of player development, son being the QB, and they knew BJ and his family, because they all come up, Amanda, BJ's beautiful wife, like just, amazing woman inside and out. And so she supported us as well. But at the same time, right, when you're looking at a situation of an athlete, right, that is going to be going next level, mom and dad have to do what's best. So friendship, no friendship, right? They want to do their due diligence. Stephanie read everything about us, right? Because she's in the contract world, right? And Eddie just wanted to make sure that he was getting, everything truthfully, right? And that nothing was being spun in one direction that wasn't going to be true. So once again, another situation where a relationship had to be formed first before they said yes. And now, right, we're getting to see. And I'll tell you what, for me to get to, see EJ, at halftime of the game, he saw me, came up, gave me a big hug, and to see the smile on his face, like it was one of those smiles where I felt that EJ was like, you know what, like I'm out here doing my thing, and now I have a whole team that's here to support me and my parents as well as Protection United, and then Protection United is going to ensure that we get where I need to get for my future, right? And at least that's how I took that big old smile. EJ might have been just like, I'm just happy to see Jay. That was it. There was no other thought process behind that.
You do have that effect on people, Jay. That is for sure. You light up people's smiles like you wouldn't believe, man.
I appreciate that.
But with those out of the way now, we move over to a gruesome twosome, a dynamic duo.
I like that.
Of guys
twosome
over at Shadow Creek, and that is none other than the Coleman twins.
Coleman twins.
We talk a decent amount about Samara, but
big sis.
Two young guns coming up in the Shadow Creek Shark system over there, and we start off with Bryce Coleman.
Coleman. Look at that.
Look at that picture. Shout outs to Cinco for getting that together, and also just a beautiful, immaculate look there at Bryce Coleman.
Hey, shout out to Sam Coleman. I feel like Sam took that picture. If you remember, we were at the game. Sam was the one sitting up in the stand, had the big old
camcorder.
Big old camcorder. It was humongous. Like he needed to buy like 3 seats just to have that camera. However, hey, Sam gets it.
Yeah,
and he understands the importance of if you don't get that film, you're not going to be able to show it. But I mean, here he is, right? Playing that tight end position this year. I think that's a great move for Bryce. He can still play outside and play some receiver, but look at that. I mean, just, catching the football, making great catches. I do feel because of the tight end spot that they have in the NFL, especially, right? I mean, this is a position that is somewhat of a lost art, but if you buy into it, you can almost have schools wanting to bring that position back because he's a mismatch nightmare. Like, what outside linebacker is going to be able to stay with them? And once again, he's a 2027, has another whole year. He played last year at Oak Ridge before the family moved, right, from the Oak Ridge area. And now you're looking at someone that is going to be starting again. Bryce, got a lot of play time for Oak Ridge. Believe that he was in and out of that starting rotation depending on week by week. But now he's found a home at Shadow Creek High School here in Houston, Texas. And now he is coming in and didn't play a lot that first half in the Summer Creek game. And let's be real, the game looked like it was out of hand. Looked like Summer Creek was going to roll. But then Bryce comes in the second half, doesn't leave the field, and then turn was a huge part of that comeback because he caught 4 balls, and 2 of them were key, continue to move the chains, third downs, and he was able to keep drives going that led to touchdowns. So you're looking at a Bryce Coleman that I truly feel will continue to garner, attention, not only just on the group of 5 level, but also on that P5, Power 5 conference level as well.
And I think he drastically undersold us on what that height was. 6'4", I'd put that maybe at a 6'5", 6'6", based on just talking to him, because I'm not.
I mean, with cleats.
But even then, I had my proper shoes on that give me maybe an inch as well. So I'm looking at maybe a 6'3", a 6'4", talking to some of these guys. Bryce looked like he was towering over me when I'm sitting there doing the interview with him. So I think he undersold us on what that height was. But
I like
listed as 6'4", 215 pounds. Bryce, he's currently got 2 offers on the table, one from Texas Southern and then another from UTEP. We got some good connections out there in El Paso, but he was recently featured in Catapult Sports' Texas Spotlight, one of the local journalists here in the Houston, South Montgomery County area. And I think that's probably the most important part of this journey for him so far, is getting that name out there, where you're talking about coming from a family that has such a prestige, such an air about them, and such an ability to promote from within. I think it speaks volumes that now you're able to draw that attraction from the outside investors, from the outside articles as well. That's probably the most important part of it, of getting his name out there. And plus, he's still got another full year after this season.
Yes, he does. No, and it's funny. I love the fan interaction, right? Just got a text from our director of player development, BJ Scoggin. He agrees with me. He was like, Jake and his measurables, right? we both are like, whoa, everybody is going to be 6'5" or taller in your eyes. There's nothing wrong with that. We could put it in the program. Could help with recruiting. But yeah, I think that 6'4" is legit in my opinion. However, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" doesn't matter. The kid can ball. He has a great set of hands. They're strong, but yet he catches the ball soft. For the ones that don't understand what that means, is basically that they're soft enough to where they're not going to just bounce off his hands and then ricochet back, but then they're strong enough to where he's not going to let people come take it away from him as well. So it's definitely, from the receiver position, something that can be taught, right? But there's a lot of work that goes into understanding the concept of catching the ball with your hands, not your body, but then most importantly, how to catch that football and then bring it into your body so that way it can't get, taken away. Other things that, we didn't talk about, it wasn't also shown on the highlights, was, his detail to blocking, right? He understands position and he understands staying on his blocks, the hand placement, grabbing those handlebars that are attached to those shoulder pads to where you don't, create a holding, but yet you still stay in control of your blocks. And as, Bryce continues to grow, now being able to slide them out into that tight slot position, sometimes putting them outside, right? You look at like a Brock Bowers, right? The old tight end at Georgia that is currently playing for the Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of times they put him wide outside and see who goes out there. Does the outside linebacker go out there with them, or does a small corner go? Once again, you're still creating a mismatch. And as Bryce continues to develop from the tight end position, he already knows how to play the wide receiver position. Like, he could be a true mismatch to where a lot of colleges could be very intrigued with, getting a Bryce Coleman and getting him to come be a part of their programs.
I don't doubt that. And the guy that was obviously passing him the ball as well, twin brother, Tavis Coleman. That's such a unique dynamic and something that I love to see that Shadow Creek has really embraced too. Of these guys have the built-in chemistry since day one. Why not let them go and shine together? And so we get to see Tavis Coleman get out here, and again, just immaculate camera work. I don't know. I like to believe that it is Sam out there getting these types of highlights, but throwing it out there and making a play that only his receiver could really make, I think that speaks so highly of what Tavis Coleman is capable of. He's a class of 2027 guy, currently listed as a 3-star QB.
Man,
again,
look at that.
That's one where I think you might be
to show that again. Just keep letting that run. I would love to see.
Criminally underrated, and I think it may be a little bit about the measurables. 6'1", 200 pounds, but to be able to throw that type of a pass, and he has good scrambling ability as well from the positions that his coaching staff puts him in. I think that is probably the most important part of it, of adapting to the modern role of the dual threat quarterback and just how important that is.
No, 100%, right. And like, to your point, he still has, room to grow, has plenty of space left in those growth plates. And he's not done, right? He could end up being 6'2", 6'3", perhaps when it's all said and done. But Tavis has always been a QB. I think Sam just kind of took the boys outside when they were 5 and said, okay, one of you are going to be a quarterback, one of you are going to be a receiver, because that just makes all the sense in the world. And then we can play catch. And then that went from playing, fun times with dad to now being, okay, now we have something, right? Tavis Coleman is tough as nails. He's a young man that has always, kept his cool, calm collectiveness. I hate that we don't have highlights of that Summer Creek game that we went to, because he threw some balls that, just looked effortless coming out of his hand. But when that ball was released, you saw the zip on the football, whether he was throwing a pipe route, which is skinny post for breaking down the layman terms, whether it was, I need to throw this in a tight window to split this corner and this safety. But then he also throws a great moon ball, right? Moon ball, for our ones that are just tuning in that might not understand that lingo, that's the home run ball, a.k.a. I'm just going to throw it as far as I can and let my receiver run underneath it for a touchdown. He understands touch. He trains with the same trainer that also trained Cam Ward, the most recent number 1 overall draft pick in this past year's past NFL draft. And he understands the concept. Great parents in Sam Coleman, Deanna Coleman. Not only have they poured everything into Samara, but now they're also pouring everything into Bryce as well as Tavis. Tavis currently doesn't have any offers as of yet. However, we know, being in that Shadow Creek offense, going against D1 talent week in and week out, that conference, I'm on concept, that district that they play in is going to help them get more attention, because at the end of the day, when they see all the things that he can do, you alluded to it also, Jake, earlier about his scrambling ability and being able to create, a new pocket, right? Being able to step up, those kind of things, and just his moxie alone is going to help Tavis continue to grow within his craft and continue, like I said, to garner the interest of other quarterback coaches, offensive coordinators, right? Those guys that do the recruiting, and in turn, finding Tavis a true home that's going to believe in him and allow him to continue to grow and develop on a collegiate level.
Yep. Big time news out of him as well. Speaking of that outsider look, he was in an Inside Texas article about UT's potential recruiting targets. They mentioned that there are some targets out of there in the Pearland area, and Tavis was one of the names mentioned in the article as a guy that had been making some big strides out of the high school circuits.
Yeah, I love that. And Computer Jesus, I know we're live. I sent you a text with, there it is. He's on it. Computer Jesus will be on it. I don't even have to say anything. I feel like I could just text and then say a prayer, and then it's going to pop up on the screen. Our guy is on it. But there he is. So if we look at the heights, right? I'm 5'11" on a good day. And so to me, everybody's tall. But yeah, that looks like 6'1", 6'4" ish to me, but look at the feet though. Look at what size cleats are they wearing?
God, that's got to be at least maybe.
Very
well could be.
And so, but you're looking at, right, number 4 being Tavis, the QB 14 being Bryce Coleman, the tight end. But and once again, right? You look at the physique on these young men, no bird legs, just young men that are tough. Raised great family, Sam, with the military background. It might have been a situation of where these young men got to be in boot camp at the age of 5. Just going to throw that out there. Sam might have had them changing their own diapers. Who knows? But we know one thing is that both of these young men are ready for the big show. And that Summer Creek game, a team that is ranked nationally, right? They took them to the wire with a chance to win the game, to come down to that last drive. Just speaks high volumes to QB1 Tavis Coleman, as well as Bryce Coleman, another young man that was a part of that comeback by catching the ball, by getting his blocks, and just showing what these Coleman twins can do, as you called them, the
You say the gruesome twosome.
The gruesome twosome.
That's the gruesome twosome out of Shadow Creek there in the form of the Coleman twins. And those are the newest members and the newest announcements of the Protect You crew. And as we wrap up the show, Jay, there were a handful of things that we wanted to talk about. People that we had seen, or in my case, I had heard of for a while. But now that we work very closely with college football, there are a handful of oddities that you really start to pick up on. And I think the one that most people have seen are some of the names of the college football players that are teammates with the Protect You crew. Now, our Protect You crew members did not drop them by name during some of the interviews, because if that were the case, it would be a timeout. I love that quote that you just gave me and all, but what was his name again? What? Who?
Yeah.
Who did you just say? And so I got a list here of 3 guys that are teammates with members of the Protect You crew that have maybe a little bit of oddball names. Some where you may question, hey, mom, dad, what were we thinking? What were we thinking in this moment? But if you peel the curtain back, you could say, hey, genius move, marketable, and you're not really going to forget the name once you hear them. So, Jay, are you ready for a couple of the college football names that I got ready for you?
Let's go. Let's roll them out.
So, out of Rice University and teammates with Lucas Shearhorn and Ty Byers, we have Mr. Mobility.
Okay. Spell that, Jake.
M-O-H is his first name.
Mo.
Last name, Bility. B-I-L-I-T-Y.
Wow. Mobility.
Mr. Mobility.
So the H is silent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. So a 6 foot, 184-pound cornerback for the Rice University Owls. And as we mentioned, teammates of a couple of members of the Protect You crew. But you may think that the notoriety comes from just his name and his name alone, which does a little bit. But Mobility was a 3-time All-District 11-4A player while he was in high school.
Okay.
So he's got a little bit of credibility to what he was, what his name may have been touting him.
He's got some credibility to mobility.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nail thoroughly buried on that one. Credibility to mobility.
All right.
So that is mobility for you. And now we move over to the other side of the state of Texas, to the University of Texas, El Paso.
UTEP.
And we have
our good friends, coaching staff over there. Shout out to Coach Walden.
That we do. And Mason Ferguson as well over there out of UTEP. His teammate and an offensive buddy of his, we have Cash Cheeks.
Cash Cheeks.
Cash Cheeks out of the University of Texas, El Paso. There's the man right there.
So I like Cash. That's a cool name. We represent we actually represent the Cash. Cheeks, though.
You got to try and make something out of the last name Cheeks.
So here's the deal, though. In fairness to the parents, you can't control what your last name is, right? I mean, that just comes from whatever that comes from, right? I don't know who started last names, and then all of a sudden, this is going to be our family's last name in the 1600s or whatever last name started. Whenever somebody came up with we got to have a last name to go with our first name. So I don't mind giving this one a little bit of a pass. You know, I mean, Cash is cool. I mean, I'm sure Money Cheeks probably had some things that he got picked on as a kid about, but he is 6'7", 225
I was going to say, hard to pick on a guy with measurables like that.
He probably took care of business.
And not to mention, too, he was a transfer guy, too, that UTEP happened to land as well. So I would think plenty of NIL opportunities for a guy with the first name Cash.
And last name Cheeks.
Cash Cheeks out of UTEP. And now our last one here, and then I got a couple of honorable mentions that we can sprinkle in here too to round out the segment, is Western Kentucky and teammate of Tucker Parks. Kind of a weird one.
Okay. Oh, dog.
I'm gonna say, looking at the scripts here, I've got quite the task ahead of me.
That first name, just go ahead, man.
So I know the first name. I'm confident with the first name. First name, Machiavelli.
Machiavelli, dog.
Machiavelli Malu Tumau is the name.
Forget the last name. I don't even care.
But
right, he's Hawaiian. Cool with the last name. Let's just stay on the first name. Machiavelli. For all the Tupac fans that are in this world. So Machiavelli. Everybody's
Illuminati all through your body.
Hey.
Hail Mary, Jay.
Hail Mary.
Come with me.
Come with me.
Hail Mary.
Hey, listen to me. Machiavelli, what a name.
Yes.
The fact that Pac made it all the way to Hawaii to where people were like, man, I'm listening to this on the beach. Imagine sitting on the beach in Hawaii. First of all, that's a great thought. I would love to do a show in Hawaii. Computer Jesus, go find us a sponsor. We can go do a show in Hawaii. But for the fact that Pac is being played on the beaches to where a parent said, I'm going to name my kid Machiavelli. Right?
That's awesome.
It's got to be because of Pac, right? Not because of anything.
So there is also, showing my history nerd here, there is a historical figure also with the name Machiavelli. However, this one leans a little bit more to what you're saying of the Pac connection
because
of the spelling.
See, there it is.
The spelling of
there
it.
There it is.
If you get rid of the K in Machiavelli's first name, you do have dang near exactly what Pac's original stage name was of Machiavelli before he moved to Tupac. But then you have the famous Italian diplomat from history, but that obviously spelt a little different because the Italian connection. But yeah, I mean, the Pacific Coast connection.
There it is.
Machiavelli is from coastal California.
Okay.
But he's got that, but he does have that Pacific Islander look and that Pacific Islander build to him as well.
From Hawaii. His family's from Hawaii.
So yes.
Right.
But
it's fine.
Keeping it in coastal Cali. Keeping it coastal Cali.
Oh, that's another reason. Yeah, that's right.
Keeping it coastal Cali, got to represent. And then one little crumb here that I'll throw in as well, Jay.
All right.
One that just missed the cut.
Okay.
Former Louisiana Tech player. He transferred out and he is now at the community college level, but Jalen just missed him by a year.
Okay.
You ready for this name?
I'm ready, fam.
DeColdest Crawford.
Hey, man. How did that miss the... You should have put him in over Cash Cheeks.
Well, the reason why no longer remember Louisiana Tech is why. No longer remember Louisiana Tech. He's transferred out and he is now in the community college ranks. But
DeColdest.
DeColdest Crawford. DeColdest Crawford. That was one that I knew I just could not miss on.
DeColdest.
Because that was one that I had known about for a while.
Yeah.
That was one I had known about for a while.
I mean, but that's a name.
Yes.
I mean, because then you're letting people know that, like, hey, I'm not just okay. I'm not in the top 10%. Like, I am the coldest. Like, nobody's better than me.
Family hooked him up with a bomb nickname from birth.
Because I'm the coldest.
Mm-hmm.
The coldest.
The coldest.
Was he born in like the winter?
Maybe that's the connection there, Jay. Maybe he was born snowy night in December. Maybe. And they looked outside and said, man, it's got to be the coldest day of the year. The coldest.
Yeah.
That's going to be our boy's name. Because, man, I got a full list of them here on
look,
that we can go on for hours and hours talking about it. But
we're going to leave it at
we'll leave it on the coldest name that we can
might drop with the coldest.
The coldest name that we could find. But
so his mother intentionally named him the coldest to be the signify greatness.
Okay.
Look at the computer.
Look at that first version of the check the tape there coming out from our man Computer Jesus behind. So
I was right. She named him that.
Named him
not because of the coldest night. It was because
greatness.
There's
greatness that comes with that. So with that bombshell, I think that's time where we end today's episode of the Protect You podcast. Another one full of highlights, another one full of great moments. We do appreciate you all, especially the parents, for sending in those clips, sending in those highlights. It truly does mean the most because it completes the package here for the Protect You podcast. But that is going to do it for this week's episode. I've been Jake Wilson, as always, alongside Jalen Mickens. Justin Woods was
Jay Mickens. Jalen's my son. It's okay.
Double take. Got to do a double take.
Jalen's there.
I'm talking too much. We got hooked on the Louisiana Tech connection. We got hooked on Louisiana Tech. Jake Wilson, as always, alongside the man at Jay Mickens.
Jalen's dad.
Our producer, Justin Woods. That does it for this episode here at the Protect You podcast. We'll catch you all on the next one. See you around.